I used to buy into the stigma that women are generally cleaner than men. That was before I had actually thought about it. Most of my friends are dudes, so often I will find myself in the midst of a group of guys, and it's a very different dynamic, I will admit. There's fart jokes, there's farting, and yes, once in a while, an entire bucket of popcorn somehow ends up all over the parking lot. But for the most part, from what I've experienced, my crew smells good, looks good, and the living spaces they affect are perfectly livable. Now this would mean nothing if I had nothing to compare it to, and I will take this further, but I'll start with what I absolutely know for certain, and that is me. I am a very messy person. I feel like I get way more satisfaction out of cleaning my room than the average person because of how rarely it happens. I am also kind of gross. It took me a longer time than I care to admit to get into the habit of showering after work every day, and I used to think that I was just a free case because according to what I'd heard, girls shower every day. Girls shave every day. Then recently, I happened to visit several abodes of some of the girls I know, and I'm gonna level with you. I was more than a little shocked on multiple occasions and with entirely separate acquaintances. I would like to point out that I am not blindly messy. The reason I know I'm messy is because I see it. You better believe I see it. I'm just lazy. There does come a point where my OCD just cannot take it anymore, and I will take out the trash or clean the bathroom or whatever the case may be. But some people, regardless of gender, are simply Oscar Madison. Though, even though I realize that nature is part of it, obviously, I don't think that it's the most contributing factor. I currently live in the country. I used to live in the city, and the general vibe and atmosphere is incredibly different and affects more than you might think. The country is blue collar, and people tend to live at distances from each other, which lends to its already naturally very laid-back attitude. In the city, we're taught to keep our elbows in, indoor voices are a thing, pick up your crap in case someone comes over. Whereas in the country, we're taught none of these things because there's no need for it in all practicality. We live on a farm, tracking mud is gonna happen, as opposed to the city mindset where appearances are actually of some import. The crazy thing is how much of either or actually does rub off on you. I can attest to this, having been brought up in both the city and the country at various intervals. The thing that I've come to realize is that all of the my age girls that I know would identify as quote-unquote country girls, whereas most of the guys I hang out with would identify as quote-unquote city boys. This in addition to the fact that the average woman will invariably have 10 times more stuff than the average guy, which will obviously lead to more mess. These two things combined, I no longer wonder at the fact that the ladies of my acquaintance appear to have no floors in their apartments. And like I said, I realize that personality has something to do with it, but I genuinely believe that upbringing is the biggest factor. But most important is the feminist implications of this. The pressure's off. I'm not weird. I wasn't supposed to be a guy. If I'm clean, it's because I've chosen to be, not because it's what's expected. It's very liberating. I am the master of